A string of auto pedestrian crashes in Salt Lake City this weekend. What you need to know before you get behind the wheel or step out into a crosswalk.
As one storm leaves the state, another one behind it. What will this next storm bring? I'll let you know in the forecast.
And some say it's the hottest and coldest winter festival in our region. We'll take you to the annual Fire and Ice Winter Festival in eastern Nevada.
Live from Utah's news leader, Fox 13 News Live at 6 starts now.
Sadly, one man is dead, 2 teenagers injured after 2 separate auto pedestrian crashes in Salt Lake City this morning. This comes after 2 children were hospitalized after being hit by a car near Hawthorne Elementary in Salt Lake City on Friday. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. I'm Amy Ney. Fox 13 News reporter Darian DeBrule spoke with police about the details of these hit-and-run incidents, as well as with one man who says his $10 hack can help keep you safe.
When I came up, the ambulance was just leaving.
James McGuire was on a walk in the early hours of the morning when he saw multiple first responders near 500 South and 700 East.
So around 1:45 this morning, Salt Lake City 911 received a call about someone who was down on the ground near the intersection of 500 South, 700 East. Based on the preliminary information that we have so far, it appears that the victim, a 31-year-old man, was crossing the crosswalk, was in the crosswalk when a dark, smaller Chevy truck hit him and then took off.
A few hours later, a few miles away, there was another hit and run near 1300 South West Temple.
We had 2 teenagers who were, it appeared that they were on a bike or in the crosswalk when a vehicle hit them and then took off westbound on 1300 South. 2 teenagers, one was 13 and one was 14. We have evidence that indicates that they were dragged a considerable distance after this crash.
McGuire says he has been hit by a car before. The experience inspiring him to take action to help stay visible when walking, all for less than $10.
I put lights on my walker so that it stands out a little bit when you're crossing the road. Gives you half a chance to make it through the intersection.
You don't necessarily have to have a full-on reflective jacket or a vest, but it's a good idea to make sure that you have lights that may be attached to your jacket, your clothing, or even a cell phone. It can be as basic as taking out your cell phone, turning on your cell phone's light.
Weisberg and McGuire say it's a community effort to keep pedestrians and drivers safe.
We all have a responsibility to make sure that we're slowing down, that we're looking for pedestrians, and that as pedestrians and other roadway users, that we're looking out for cars.
Give us a chance. Some of us are old and it takes us a few minutes to get across there, but some of us are afraid to drive, like me. That's why I'm a pedestrian now. I don't want to do to somebody what was done to me.
Police say they will continue to investigate these crashes and look for the suspect in the fatal hit and run that occurred here. In Salt Lake City, I'm Darian DeBrule, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Out in the rain and snow today. Darian, thank you. Today, community members came together at the public library in downtown Salt Lake City to talk about the importance of mental health. This panel, hosted by the Muslim community group named Al-Maida, which is dedicated to supporting Muslim youth in Utah facing various social issues like a lack of self-confidence and depression through positive social activities.
It's very important to talk about mental health because it's one of the less understood area in the community. So it belongs to our health. A lot of people are not getting the proper help. So it's very important that we send the message out that mental health is a very treatable medical problem. Everybody should be coming forward, talking to their doctors and get the right medicines on board.
Well, this panel discussion was hosted by a Muslim community group. The doctor you just heard from there stressed to Fox 13 News that this event was open to people of all faiths because mental health is a topic that impacts everyone, regardless of whether or not they subscribe to one religion or not. Right now, it's time for us to toss it over to Utah's Weather Authority, Breck Bolton, who's been following all this weather today. Feels like it's been raining or snowing all day.
It really has. We kind of been seeing a little bit of break, though, here across the state, where earlier on, a view from this shot up at the University of Utah Natural History Museum, where we had the snow falling early morning through the afternoon hours. Now a break as we're seeing a little peak there of a sunset as we move. The storm now beginning to exit the state, getting ready for our next storm. But this one leaving a mark where we did see kind of a mixture of rain and snow for the valleys. Definitely significant snow up in the mountains. But let's just kind of show you where in some areas, particularly the Wasatch back, turning towards northeastern Utah, we saw anywhere between 3 to 5 inches. Sunnyside coming in with 7 inches. Beaver just over 2 inches. Alta and a lot of the ski resorts getting a foot or more as it continued on throughout the day. And as I mentioned, we've got more snow in the forecast, but we're going to get a little bit of a break. However, there are some pockets of some light snow showers, particularly as you look towards southwestern Utah. A line of showers impacting areas such as Enterprise, moving over towards Cedar City. So again, tracking along I-15, moving north from St. George to Cedar City. Could still see some slushy roads. Looks like we're starting to see the showers dissipate across southeastern Utah. Here along the Wasatch Front, again, some isolated areas. There's a batch of some showers that's making its move. Looks like it'll be hitting Nephi, moving up through Provo. So looking towards the southern end of the Wasatch Front. And then it looks like here across most of the Wasatch Front, we are tapering things off. So improvements expected. But as I mentioned, the next one lining up. When does it get here? And will it bring more snow towards the valleys? I'll let you know coming up.
Thanks so much, Breck. Today was the first Sunday market of the new year at Wheeler Historic Farm in Murray. There were all kinds of booths at the farm's outdoor education center this morning. From artists and artisans to several different food vendors and even musicians, there was something for everyone who wanted to shop local this weekend.
All the stuff here, all the vendors here, you're not going to find this in your box store and stuff. So they get unique stuff and they're supporting their neighbors.
It's a great way once a week or once a month to just come out and get the product direct to the consumer. But it's also super fun. I love interacting with the customer.
You know, we say they're outdoor farmers market. Look at it, indoors, away from the cold weather. The Wheeler Sunday Market happens on the third Sunday of each month through April. It's been a long-standing winter tradition in eastern Nevada, 20 years to be exact. And folks come from far and wide to check out the annual Fire and Ice Winter Festival in Ely, Nevada. Fox 13 photojournalist Rick Bork spent the weekend there to show us all the fun.
We're building snow sculptures for the Fire and Ice Festival.
We did it right in the downtown. We got Broadbent Park, which is right there by City Hall, right by all the restaurants and coffee shops, and plenty of snow to build snow sculptures. So, and there's been some really spectacular pieces that have been done.
My mom said she entered, and she's doing a dragon over there, and you know, she needed some competition, so I decided I better. We got a long ways to go. Judging isn't till tomorrow, so we should be fine.
People show their talent, that's for sure.
We're going on a train to watch fireworks.
I'm gonna watch the fireworks.
Seeing fireworks on a train.
In January of 2009 was our very first Fire and Ice fireworks train. The moment she pops out of the tunnel and clears the high tension wires.
It was so good. Actually, it was my first time ever on the train, and it was amazing.
There's one thing that we like to do in White Pine County, and we feel like we do it very well, that's shoot fireworks off. It'll be a pretty big burst and fireball.
Pretty cool. If you'd like to learn more about other fun events at the Nevada Northern Railway Museum and other parts of White Pine County, you can just go to nnry.com as well as elynevada.net. Coming up, the push for Congressman George Santos to resign continues to grow. What members from both sides of the aisle are saying this weekend. And how President Biden is honoring Martin Luther King Day with an historic visit to a place important to the civil rights icon. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Some world news headlines for you right now. And tragedy in Nepal when a plane went down into a gorge today. killing almost everyone on board. The plane was carrying 72 people. It was attempting to land at the newly opened Pokhara Airport in central Nepal. Witnesses say the plane caught on fire after impact, and it made rescue efforts difficult. Families rushed to Kathmandu Airport, anxious to know if their loved ones survived the flight. At least 68 people, we understand, died in this tragedy. Officials plan to keep searching for the 4 missing people tomorrow. Nepal's Civil Aviation Authority says the cause of the accident is unclear. The WWE exploring a sale internationally. While rumors have swirled around the wrestling organization being sold to Saudi Arabia, the company says it's still exploring its options. WWE founder Vince McMahon rejoined the board earlier this month, stating the move is related to the company's future media rights negotiations. The timing of the sale works in conjunction with WWE looking to claim new media rights deals, as its current TV agreements with Fox for Friday Night SmackDown and NBC Universal for Monday Night Raw are set to expire in October of 2024. In a national headline, scandal-plagued Congressman George Santos says he will not resign his seat despite growing pressure for him to do so. And now there are calls for an investigation that may take the decision out of his control. Fox's Lucas Tomlinson has that story.
Democrats in Congress are turning up the heat on newly elected Republican George Santos, filing a complaint against him with the House Ethics Committee.
Speaker of the House indicated that he would support an ethics investigation.
A New York Times investigation found that Santos fabricated many parts of his background, including his academic and work history and about having Jewish ancestry. The new Republican head of the House Oversight Committee said on Sunday that Santos could be removed from office for another reason.
It's not up to me or any other member of Congress to determine whether he could be kicked out for lying. Now, if he broke campaign finance laws, then he will be removed from Congress.
It's not just the other side of the aisle pushing for Santos to step down. Last week, a group of Republicans from his Long Island district called for him to resign, calling the scandal a distraction and an embarrassment for the party.
He cannot serve anymore. He does not deserve that right. He is a stain on the House of Representatives. He's a stain on the 3rd Congressional District.
At least 6 other Republican congressmen from New York have echoed that sentiment. So far, Santos has remained defiant, saying he intends to serve out his full term.
I was elected by 142,000 people. Until those same 142,000 people tell me they don't want me, we'll find out in 2 years.
House Speaker Kevin McCarthy says he intends to let the Ethics Committee decide Santos's fate. Lucas Tomlinson, Fox 13 News, Utah.
2 members of the Georgia Bulldogs football program were tragically killed in a car crash early this morning. It happened just hours after the squad celebrated back-to-back national championships. The UGA Athletic Association identified the victims of the car crash in Athens, Georgia, as 20-year-old offensive lineman Devin Willock and 24-year-old Chandler LaCroix, who was a member of the recruiting staff. The organization said 2 others of the football program who were also injured are now in stable condition at a nearby hospital. They were not immediately identified.
We lift these families in prayer. We pray for our city. We pray for our state.
The UGA Athletic Association said in a statement, quote, Devin and Chandler were 2 special people who meant so much to the University of Georgia, our football program, and our athletic department. We ask that everyone keep their families in your prayers during this very difficult time. Tomorrow, the nation honors Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. and as President Biden marked the holiday by making an historic visit to the Atlanta Church of the nation's most revered civil rights leader. Tina Kim has that story.
He followed the path of Moses.
Making history to mark history, Joe Biden is now the first sitting president to speak at a Sunday service at Ebenezer Baptist Church in Atlanta, where Martin Luther King Jr. was co-pastor. The president told the congregation the past actions of the civil rights icon are a guide to the nation's future.
Are we the people who are going to choose love over hate? I believe Dr. King's life and legacy show us the way, and we should pay attention. I really do. He had every reason to believe, as others of his generation did, that history had already been written, that the division would be America's destiny. But he rejected that outcome.
The president was invited to the Georgia church by its current senior pastor, Reverend Raphael Warnock, who just recently won re-election to the U.S. Senate. Also attending, a peer of the late Dr. King, former ambassador and mayor of Atlanta, Andrew Young.
Andy and I took on apartheid in South Africa and a whole lot else.
The president's speech is among the many ways the nation is remembering King. In Boston, the Embrace, a sculpture, was unveiled honoring King and his late wife, Coretta Scott King. In Washington, fifth graders reread the powerful words of King's I Have a Dream speech, an annual event. Sunday, America's most revered civil rights activist would have turned 94. I'm Tina Kim reporting.
When President Biden returns to Washington this week, he will continue to face the firestorm over classified documents found on several of his properties. The White House revealed this weekend 5 more pages of classified material were discovered at his Wilmington, Delaware home. They were found on Thursday, the same day a special counsel was appointed to investigate the matter further. Did you see the snow? Did you see the rain? We had our fair share of it, it feels, today. I drove up to Park City, and while I was driving up there, I thought, what in the world am I doing?
It was tough moving up Park.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad, though, because the ice hadn't really settled in. It was a little milder.
Yeah, well, we had the snow falling, piling up, mountains getting hit. Here through the valleys, kind of moments of rain, moments of snow. Now we're tapering off. This storm moving on, but we're quickly getting ready for our second storm that's going to be pushing through and once again bring statewide precipitation as we move to start the work week off. But let's get you through the weekend, Martin Luther King Day as well, where for today we found temperatures with the official look at the almanac where we saw conditions where with the rain and the snow, temperatures getting up into near 40 degrees, where right now, as we give you a view, we're not seeing the snow as we did see earlier. Temperatures, well, we're in the 30s in Salt Lake City, mid-30s currently in Ogden, right now in Provo at 37 degrees. As we talk about the snow situation, things are looking once again good for January. I just give you a reminder where we've been, where looking at November, specifically at Alta, the average snowfall for that month, 77 inches. We got above that for November. Again, December was great, smashing looking at the average where we got up to 164 inches. Now an update from Alta where they picked up 23 inches here over the past 36 hours. They're at 92 for the month, so we're right near the average, and we're just halfway through the month. So it's looking like, especially as I look at the forecast, we're going to see above normal snowfall here and a snowpack here across northern Utah for January. So we got to keep this string going. I don't want to get too much, though. I'm kind of thinking ahead in the spring. Boy, if we're at 200% of normal, it's like, how are we going to bring all the snow down? But let's not worry about that. Let's focus in on our next storm. Now, we still have winter storm warnings in effect for the mountains. That should expire for most locations after 11 o'clock tonight. Then we start focusing in on what the watches and warnings will be for the next storm. We start looking at towards central and southern Utah. That's the biggest focus. Even though the Wasatch Mountains, we're going to see a fair share of additional snow from this next storm, but not as much as we saw from this storm. So that's definitely going to be a change, and we're going to see, at least across central and southern Utah, more activity and snow accumulations for the valleys. Let's get to the specifics where with this next storm, and which we look at the winter weather advisory being in place through December and in some locations through Wednesday, excuse me, not December, through Tuesday, I should say, through Wednesday as well. Northern mountains picking up 6 to 12 inches. So again, not as much, 10 to 15 inches though for the Cottonwood Canyons. It's the central and southern mountains. As you got a fair share from this first storm, we're looking to add on an additional foot to maybe potentially 2 feet of snow. Severe River Valley, so we're looking at Panguitch over towards Bryce Canyon. Those are the amounts there. Southwest Valley, Cedar City, Milford, you're looking at 4 to 8 inches. Wasatch back 2 to 4 inches. South Central Valleys, Kanab over towards Escalante, 2 to 5 inches. Now, looking here across northern Utah Wasatch Front, next 48 hours, we start to see a little bit of snow come tomorrow, but then overnight Monday through Tuesday, I'll say a 1 to a 2 inch range, maybe some locations getting a little bit more. But again, for the valleys, a little bit of shoveling as we head into Tuesday, but then more snow expected late Wednesday through Thursday. So we keep it going here. As we see right now, things are tapering off. However, we could hold on to a few Isolated snow showers again near Cedar City, pushing further northward through central Utah. There is kind of a little push of some snow towards Juab County, south end of Utah County as well. That'll be in effect here for the next couple of hours. Looks like for most of the Wasatch Front, this storm moving on, which means we're starting off tomorrow with some clouds in place. The showers delayed, though. They get here come tomorrow afternoon. And again, we start seeing more snow and storms coming in as we look Wednesday into Thursday. Now, for tonight, we're going to see those showers, colder temperatures tomorrow. It's central and southern Utah through the morning, then it pushes further northward in the afternoon. Again, it becomes more active come tomorrow evening for northern Utah. St. George, it's rain, then a mixture of rain and snow on Tuesday. Now models showing maybe potentially some showers on Thursday. All in all, it's going to be colder with temperatures only in the 40s. Northern Utah, it's a mixture of rain and snow tomorrow. Snow Tuesday, break Wednesday, some snow showers Thursday. Now models showing maybe potentially Sunday, another storm. Definitely colder next weekend, so we're going to feel the chill, but we'll keep the snow going.
Thank you, Brack. Straight ahead, you've definitely seen it at the grocery store. Prices for eggs, they've gone way up. Why some experts say it's more than just the avian flu that's causing this uptick.
Celebrating positive life events could be good for your health. I'm Ashley Strohmeyer with a look at the new research showing how your next party could make you happier coming up.
Welcome back. So glad you're here with us on Fox 13 News. I'm Amy Nay. So partying apparently could help your mental and physical well-being. There's some news for you. Fox's Ashley Strohmeyer takes a look at the new study that highlights what you need to do at your next celebration to keep you feeling happy and healthy.
Turns out partying could be the key to improving your health. Researchers at Indiana University are revealing the results of a new study which finds celebrating life events can positively impact your mental and physical well-being.
Celebrations can lead to what well-being experts call increased perceived social support. Perceived social support is really important because it's this belief that your social network will be there for you in the event that something bad happens.
This belief alone can enhance your outlook on life and generate other benefits.
There's improved life expectancy. You're better able to deal with the stresses and anxieties that kind of come up in the day-to-day.
So how can you reap these rewards? Analysts say the first thing you need is a positive achievement to recognize.
Maybe you had a graduation, maybe you got a job promotion, maybe you just, your garden's doing really well and you're really proud of the work that you've put into your garden. Anything positive in your life you can use.
Then, as long as you have people to celebrate with and you mark the occasion with food and drink, researchers say you can start feeling socially supported. The study also says these events can prove especially helpful at senior living centers where people may face heightened loneliness. If you can't make it in person to a celebration, researchers found virtual gatherings honoring a positive life event can provide the same benefits as long as there's other virtual attendees and everyone has something to eat and drink. Ashley Strohmeyer, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Consumers and businesses are seeing an increase in egg prices and a shortage at many grocery stores. It's not just the avian flu that's pushing wholesale prices to record highs. Cole Higgins has what's behind the soaring prices and empty egg shelves and how soon those conditions could improve.
Eggflation hitting shoppers at grocery stores nationwide. A shortage of eggs resulting in empty shelves and forcing consumers to shell out more cash for those hard-to-find egg cartons.
I've noticed it being $1 a dozen to now $5 a dozen. Definitely the prices have went from comfortability to not.
According to the food market data company Urnerberry, as of Tuesday, January 10th, the average price for eggs was $4.33 per dozen. This time last year, that price was around $1.33. And that's forcing businesses to pass on the higher costs to consumers.
Prices has just quadrupled. It's just amazing.
So what's behind the higher costs? An avian flu that's wiped out egg-producing hens, leading to a major supply squeeze. According to the USDA, about 60 million birds are gone because of the disease so far, as farmers across the country have had to destroy entire flocks of chickens if one or more test positive for the avian flu.
18 eggs some days when we were usually getting, 15,
to 18 dozen this time last year.
And on top of all that, higher prices for transportation, feed, and energy for producers are also forcing egg providers to raise prices. And experts from research firm IRI say it could take several months for production to return to normal. Experts say to avoid scrambling to find eggs, avoid shopping on Sunday night or Monday mornings, since most stores restock overnight during the week. I'm Cole Higgins reporting.
And despite all that, data shows shoppers have been accepting those high prices at the grocery store. Sales of eggs have only dropped about 2% by unit in retail in the year through December 4th. That's information according to the IRI, a market research firm. Imagine being a target of hate based on your religion. It's a problem apparently on the rise here in America. We're going to talk to those that experienced it firsthand in a very extreme way next. And new warnings coming from federal regulators regarding cryptocurrency, why the industry is starting the new year amid growing fears. Plus, the Biden administration has renewed the COVID-19 public health emergency provision, what this means for millions of Americans. 1 year ago today, 4 people's lives were changed forever as a stranger held them hostage in their place of worship, a synagogue. In tonight's To America's report, Matt Pearl sits down with some of those hostages as they not only share their story, but share why this incident of anti-Semitism is just one instance of a bigger problem in America.
Often in the Bible, they talk about the stranger. And I think that we can look like a stranger.
To be Jewish in America is to know on some level what it means to be the stranger, to largely blend in, but to know that most not of your faith know little about it, to know that some harbor stereotypes that are born of ignorance and can lead to hate.
There's a lack of understanding about what Judaism is.
Anna Eisen is the founder of Congregation Beth Israel in Colleyville, Texas.
And the community pulls itself together.
Jeff Cohen and Shane Woodward.
I want people to know that I'm Jewish.
Were in the building a year ago when stereotypes and where they can lead came to their door.
Someone is in our synagogue yelling at the rabbi.
Halfway through Saturday morning services,
We're all listening to it online.
congregants live streaming from home called 911.
Oh my God, there's a guy with a gun.
The stranger at their synagogue door had begun holding those inside hostage.
I've got someone who has a gun, and he says he has 2 bombs.
He wanted the release of a prisoner. He chose a synagogue because
Our attacker said Jews control the media, Jews control the banks, Jews to control the government, Jews pull all the strings. This guy believed it. He had heard these over and over again.
4 congregants were held for 11 hours. They finally escaped. The gunman was killed when FBI agents stormed the synagogue and shot him.
It was a day that had a beginning and an end. But we now can look back and see that it was also part of an emerging trend of anti-Semitism.
Acts of anti-Semitism have always existed, but since 2016, reports of those acts have more than doubled. In just the first week of this year, anti-Semitic incidents were reported in the press in Florida, Nevada, Michigan, and Montana.
We're in 2023, and it's very alive.
Woodward was not born Jewish. He was raised Christian in a small town in West Texas. He wasn't aware of anti-Semitism until he converted and saw it.
I had gotten into an Uber. He looks at me in the mirror and he says, "Do you want to know why there's no Jews in Winston-Salem?" I don't know. I don't know why. And he looks at me and says, because there's no banks and there's no diamonds, there's no money here.
The same stereotypes that fueled those statements fueled the gunman in Colleyville.
I don't feel safe. When I have to go into my synagogue with an armed guard at the door, why would I feel safe?
We have some members who are very leery to take their children to religious school, who, even when there's no signs out front or anything like that, don't want to go to a public place where we're meeting.
Did you ever waver in whether or not you still wanted to go through with this?
No, not once. Because I'm Jewish. And I want the public to know
To be Jewish in America is too often to be seen as both foreign and familiar. The synagogue that holds religious services also holds classes for children. The same people who wear kippot and talit, host blood drives, and in the South, say y'all. Most of us understand in some way feeling like a stranger, which is why in this building, to welcome the stranger remains at its heart.
What we strive for is to be welcoming, to be open.
And that's not going to change.
I hope not. Boy, if it did, I'd be out of here in a minute. I never want to be part of a synagogue that would not welcome the stranger.
In Colleyville, Texas, I'm Matt Pearl.
Now, remarkable to think it's been that many years since that incident. Meantime, talking about some other news for you this evening. And the cryptocurrency industry is starting 2023 amid growing fraud concerns. From failed digital coin exchanges to online scams, now law enforcement and federal regulators are issuing some new warnings. Mike Valerio has a look at how to avoid becoming a victim.
Get ready for another crypto roller coaster ride this 2023. The FBI and other agencies are raising concerns about an online scam called pig butchering.
We're not talking about what's going on farms. We're talking about a cryptocurrency investment scam that is sweeping the country. It is costing Americans billions of dollars in losses.
Authorities are urging you to be careful when getting random texts or messages through social media with invitations to start investing in cryptocurrencies.
When you finally ask for your money, guess what? Your friend has disappeared.
It comes as several recent crypto-related headlines sent a chill through an already anxious community. First, Sam Bankman-Fried, the founder of failed crypto exchange platform called FTX, pleaded not guilty this month to federal fraud and conspiracy charges linked to his company's meltdown. Then, the SEC charged 6 people in an investment scheme called CoinDeal that raised more than $45 million on false promises of access to blockchain technology. And also this month, U.S. regulators have issued their first joint statement warning banks and others about the risks of fraud, volatility, and poor risk management in the crypto world. So what can you do to avoid becoming a victim? Law enforcement officials say scammers usually target their victims by sending mass texts, hoping somebody takes the bait.
Perpetrators of these crimes have been trained in techniques of psychological deception, in techniques to gain people's trust.
I'm Mike Valerio reporting.
The Biden administration again renewed the COVID-19 public health emergency this week. It's a provision that allows federal health officials to respond to the pandemic as cases again are on the rise. And the American Lung Association has launched a new campaign aimed at those who are at high risk of getting severely sick or dying from COVID-19. Mandy Gaither has more on why the organization says testing and early treatment could mean the difference between life and death.
In the U.S., a new Omicron subvariant is causing more COVID-19 cases. XBB.1.5 is continuing to spread, as is concern about a possible winter surge.
In the high-risk groups, people are coming to the hospital, and unfortunately, people are still dying from COVID-19.
That's why the American Lung Association launched a new campaign aimed at those at high risk of getting severely sick from COVID-19, including seniors and people with certain medical conditions like chronic lung disease. First, the organization says to get up to date on your COVID-19 vaccinations. That means getting the updated booster if eligible. Second, if you have symptoms of the virus, get tested. Treatment is most effective when done early.
We have some oral therapies that can be used within 5 days of symptom onset, and one IV therapy that can be used within a week of symptom onset.
If you're at high risk and test positive for COVID-19, talk to your doctor about the best treatment options for you.
A lot of information and misinformation being circulated. Our treatment options are good. They're being underutilized, particularly in inner city minority communities, populations that are underserved by the healthcare system in general.
I'm Mandy Gaither reporting.
Even if you're not in the high-risk category with COVID-19, the American Lung Association says it's still important for you to be vaccinated as well so that you can protect not only yourself but those around you who could get severely sick. Still ahead, talk about a full circle moment. We will introduce you to one woman who is now caring for the woman who first cared for her. Jeff.
Coming up in sports, wild card weekend continues in the NFL. Former Utah Ute Eric Rowe made a big play for the Dolphins, and it was a top 15 matchup between Utah and Arizona, and it went down to the wire. The highlights are on the way.
Welcome back. A mother-daughter bond can be a powerful thing, and this pair, well, they've got quite the story. Forrest Sanders introduces us to a family sharing their life-changing experience in hopes of giving others more time together.
When Becky Bonds and Mom Martha get together, conversation could turn to good food.
That poppy seed dressing that you use for your pasta salad, girl, fine.
To seeing good friends.
Don't participate in gossip. I mostly listen.
And, you know, lots of stuff.
That man back there is handsome. He's single. Handsome. Don't say nothing, but he handsome.
The big thing is, Becky wants her mom on a routine. Coming here to East Park Community Center and getting time in the fitness room.
She's 82. She'll tell me when she's tired, she had enough, and she's not going. My mother, that's my world, my queen. She's my right arm.
You see, Becky's emphasis on health comes from being a part of Ascension St. Thomas hospitals.
I am the lung nurse navigator. I work with lung cancer patients.
When Martha told her doctor she'd smoked for more than 30 years before quitting, the doctor ran a test.
When she sent me for that, that's when they found it. And she's resilient, but it's still hard.
Martha was diagnosed with lung cancer.
It was a shock, but I dealt with it.
According to the American Cancer Society, 237,000 people were diagnosed with lung cancer this year, most of them over 65. It's the second most common form of cancer, but by far the leading cause of cancer death. A mother and daughter are sharing their story to give others their advice. Becky's learned from her work that lung cancer can be in advanced stages when symptoms emerge like prolonged cough, weight loss, chest pain, and extreme fatigue. Early detection is key.
You know, you have to talk to your doctor.
In this fitness room today, there are many kinds of strong.
I'm more strict on her because I want her here as long as I can have her here. She's my superstar.
In Nashville, I'm Forrest Sanders reporting.
I love seeing those two together. The relationship is really special. All right, this is some wild video. Salt Lake City had some unique visitors today. The city police department sharing these photos of elk this weekend. I think they've been poking around near homes due to the fresh salt out on the roads. But you typically don't see them all the way down in the valley down here.
Oh,
Those giant animals.
With all these storms, though, with all that salt we've been using, you can see why they would make that trek.
Our own little salt lick we're putting out for those animals, I guess. So you never know what you'll find out there.
Well, the snow plows have been out in full force here throughout the day, mainly throughout the canyons, both for northern, central, and southern Utah. As for the valleys, at least along the Wasatch Front, it was kind of a mixture of some rain and snow, but accumulating snow throughout the benches, and we're piling it up in the mountains. I want to share, though, just up above the foothills of Draper, Suncrest there, you can see Trevor setting this in, measuring that he came up about 10 inches of snow since last night. So that's an impressive amount, and it's been so good for our snowpack and great on this weekend where many are enjoying the ski resorts, where we continue to bring upwards of 1 foot to 2 feet of snow for some of the ski resorts here across northern Utah. Now, the official high today in Salt Lake City at 42 degrees. You can see on average we should be in the upper 30s. So again, you can see why we kind of were bouncing back in between rain and snow here along the valley floors. But we do have some additional storms that look to bring snow for the valleys. As we look, though, throughout the state today, most of these high temperatures were throughout the early morning hours across central Utah, because you had to contend with some showers and even some snow and some colder temperatures, where right now, as we look in Salt Lake City, we're at 38 degrees, 32 in Ogden, mid-30s through Provo. It will be a colder night, but we're really going to be looking at some chilly temperatures looking ahead as we're going to bring in some colder air. So we've been seeing a series of storms coming in from the west. Again, that air more mild. It's been packing in the snow, though. Update as we take a look at Alta, where, again, looking at November, December, and January, where in November, we got 83 inches above average. We really were looking good in December with 164 inches. So far, we're halfway through the month. We're already at 92 inches. We're on average in January, at least at Alta, we get 95 inches, and we will blast through that, get above average. So it's great that we're going to see another month with above average snowfall here across the state. Now, winter storm warnings in effect for the mountains still in place until about 11 o'clock. They will expire. So the updated advisories, where we will have a winter storm advisory in place for the Wasatch Mountains, Wasatch back, looking through central Utah. Central and southern mountains, though, you're going to get pounded again with this next storm coming through, and it gets here tomorrow. Now, how much are we talking about? Again, for the northern mountains, it's 6 to 12 inches rather than 12 to 24 inches. 10 to 15 inches for the Cottonwood Canyons, Southwest Valley. So we're looking at Cedar City over towards Milford, 4 to 8 inches. Looking at areas such as Price, 2 to 5 inches. South Central Valleys, Kanab, Escalante, 2 to 5 inches. So again, bringing in the snow. It's another storm that's packing in the moisture. Now, we're getting a break, at least throughout most of the state. Pockets of some isolated snow showers near Cedar City up through Juab County, but all in all, we're letting go of this storm. It won't have much of an impact here tonight. Now, we could wake up to a few flurries here across the central to the southern end of the Wasatch Front, but here's our next storm system. Once again, it's focusing across Southern California and making its move towards the state. It gets here come tomorrow morning. As we show you the computer models, we can see as we start the morning commute, though those that have to work will be looking at showers through St. George, through Cedar City, and the storm moves further northward. It gets here by mid-afternoon here along the Wasatch Front and will continue on in the overnight hours. Then we start to see some wraparound moisture, colder air, snow in the valleys as we got Tuesday morning. So tomorrow night and Tuesday morning's commute will be tough. Now for tonight, not too bad. Central Utah, we have some snow. Tomorrow, it's widespread throughout the state. Still temperatures in the low 40s. That's why we're going to see a mixture of rain and snow here along the Wasatch Front. But for St. George, it's rain. Also seeing some snowflakes early Tuesday morning, and then rain snow mix on Thursday. Colder temperatures by the weekend. You're going to see low 40s in your forecast. Northern Utah, Tuesday with the snow, Thursday with the snow, Sunday with the snow. Colder, though, highs in the low 30s. So not only are we going to get the moisture, we're going to get the cold air to go along with it.
It was a top 15 matchup this afternoon at the John M. Huntsman Center with 10th-ranked Utah women's team hosting number 14 ranked Arizona, and it was a good one. End of the first quarter, Utes with it. Clock running down, Isabel Palmer puts it up and banks it in. Put Utah up 3. She finished with 10 points. It was tight in the fourth quarter. Alyssa Peely, another big game for the Utes, drives and scores, tied the game. She led the Utes with 27. Gianna Neepkins made some big shots down the stretch, inside for the bucket and one, put the Utes up 4. They were down 2 with under 45 seconds to play. She drives and spins, scores again, 3-point play, put the Utes up. She finished with 20 points, but Arizona rallied late. Paris Clark gets the rebound and the score to cut the lead to 1 with just 9 seconds to play. Then the Wildcats steal the inbounds pass, and it's Clark again. Scores to put Arizona up with 1.6 seconds remaining. The Utes needed something to go their way. They throw it into Peely. Works for her shot, is no good, but she's fouled. With 0.3 seconds on the clock, so Peely had 2 free throws. The first one, boy, how about the nerves? Knocks it down. That tied the score at 79, so she had 1 more for the lead, and she made it. I put the Utes up 1. Arizona needed a miracle, but it did not happen. The Utes with a big win, 80-79 over Arizona, to improve to 15-1 this season. NFL playoffs, the Dolphins and Bills in the wild card round. Buffalo quarterback Josh Allen on the move, fires it to Dawson Knox, makes the catch for the touchdown. Bills built a 17-0 lead, but Miami rallied back. Former Utah Ute Eric Rowe comes in on the blitz, gets Allen, forces the fumble. His teammate Zach Sealer picks it up and gets in for a touchdown to put the Dolphins up 24-20 in the third quarter. But Allen put the Bills back on top with 2 touchdown passes in the third. This one to Gabe Davis, 23-yard strike for the score. The Bills won it 34-31. to advance. In the NFC, the Giants took on the Vikings with New York with it. Daniel Jones to Isaiah Hodgins. Touchdown, the Giants were up 14-7. First drive of the third quarter, Jones play action finds Daniel Bellinger wide open. The Giants up 10 and a chance for the upset. The Vikings would rally Kirk Cousins to Irv Smith Jr. The Vikings added a field goal to tie the game at 24, but the Giants were back on top midway through the fourth quarter. Saquon Barkley powers in. Second touchdown of the game to put the Giants at 7. New York Giants held on to win at 31-24 to advance. Coming up tonight on the Fox 13 Sports page, we'll look back at last night's Jazz game against the 76ers. And Donovan Mitchell's return to Utah, plus RSL started training camps. We'll hear from them, and we'll tell you about a local weightlifter, Jared Dangerfield.
Wow, some exciting playoff football.
Yeah, it's going on again right now. We got former Utah quarterback Tyler Huntley leading the Baltimore Ravens against the Cincinnati Bengals. We'll have those highlights later tonight.
A lot to talk about. And the girls out there playing for Utah. That was like pressure cooker.
Pressure, they pulled it out. Great win at home.
Love it.
For the Utes.
It's so exciting. All right, we got a lot more to talk about. We'll be right back. All right, before we go, in case you missed it, someone in the state of Maine matched all 6 numbers in the Mega Millions lottery game. It's a long ways away. Yeah, they won the $1.3 billion prize. The jackpot has been growing since October. It's the second largest prize in the game's history and 4th largest in U.S. lottery history. Mega Millions says at least 14 others in 10 states won a cool $1 million by matching the first 5 numbers. The cash payout option before taxes, by the way, worth more than $700 million.
You know, I didn't drive to Maine, but I drove to Wyoming. Bought a lottery ticket. I won $14.
Ooh, that didn't even cover your gas,
You're
Jeff.
taking us to dinner.
Hey, a win's a win.
Yes, a win is a win. We'll see you tonight at 9.